Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. And T238 slid into my DMs asking if I'd be interested in taking a look at their speed loader Pro Edition. So I said sure. It took a couple of weeks to get here, so we're going to crack into it today and see what's going on and seeing whether this is worth your hard-earned money. So you open the box, you've got a manual which should take you through pretty much everything that you need to know, but something like this should be pretty straightforward. So this is the Pro version. I'm not 100% sure what the difference is on the different versions. The first thing that I will say is I'm sure I've seen videos and clips with this loader where this is like a joystick which like sits up here. Maybe I'm wrong and maybe I'm just making that up in my head, but that's the first thing I can see straight off the bat. So nice little size loader. We've got a thing on the side here which tells you how many rounds in it. So it looks like it can hold up to 1800 rounds. It's transparent, so you can see all the workings here. Uses an 1100 milliamp LiPo, which is, get this to 11.1. And yeah, pretty straightforward. Door at the top, put your BBs in. And we're going to get started on this thing and see if we can get it going. So there's a battery which is removable, which you charge up, of course. The one thing straight off the bat that I'm not a fan of is why they couldn't put like a latched door on this. So I actually need to use a screwdriver to get the door open. So let's grab a screwdriver. Is that going to be the right size? A little bit too small. Let's find something a bit more ideal. Here we go. So we take a little Phillips screwdriver and we have to remove this screw to open the door. So the first thing that I would just change is just have that as a latch, because it's not going to be something that you need to really worry about accidentally opening. It's on the bottom. So we can pull this out here. So the cables are tucked in pretty good. Let's just pull this Dean's connector out. So you have removable batteries. So if you have anything of a similar size, you know, chances are that it's going to fit in this thing. It is a smaller battery compared to what's, and I'm going to be comparing this a lot to the Vanguard. And when T238 actually originally contacted me, that's kind of what they requested. They wanted me to compare it with, you know, the best products that I have and that I use, which is the Vanguard. Now, there is obviously a massive difference in price, so I'm going to take that into consideration. But there are other models like this on the market. You've got the Autobot, which I've looked at previously, which is a very, very simple device. So it doesn't have anything where you can chop and change the settings. It's just you push it down until it kicks your magazine off the top. So we've got that plugged in now. Press OK, it turns on. So we've got 11.3 volts on the battery, it's saying. And I imagine this is just very simple. We can just select how many rounds we want to infinite. And then if we go up and down, it's basically selecting different increments. So, you know, this is the bottom increment. You could have that as 1. The next one you could have as 30, 50, 120. So your 250 rounds are going to be for EPMs, 120 rounders. A lot of mid caps are 120 rounders. We'll change the one down from that to 35, and then we'll go lower on the one down from that. We'll go 20, and then we've got infinite at the bottom. Oh, maybe we have to select record. What on earth am I doing here? Brightness, display, auto shutdown, back. So that doesn't save. So if I wanted to save that, record. I mean, usually you'd just flick for this book, wouldn't you? But I'm just trying to see if it's like intuitive and you can pick it up straight away. Now with the Vanguard, it was very intuitive. I could kind of figure it out pretty quickly. So this is all in Chinese. Can we... English, there we go. So So I just want to see if we can set them and save them. It says it will work with 2S and 3S lipos. Now, I would recommend using a three cell lipo just because it's going to need the torque on the motor to push your rounds in your magazines, especially if you're using some hard to feed magazines. So it basically just tells us what's going on here, usage, how to turn it off. Open top of speed loader, yeah. Set the loading mode, manual loading mode. Magazine is released. Fixed quantities. So it doesn't really say anything about sort of saving what your presets are. Maybe there is and I'm missing it, but I don't see it there. To me, that would make sense that you have your presets. You know, you got infinite, and you know, with infinite, you'd push down, and then it'll just keep feeding until you load it off. Now, it says the loader's empty, so that's quite a. I'm just going to show you that there again. So we load, and it's like, you idiot, the loader's empty. What are you doing? So it just, you've got these presets, and it, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm being stupid. You know, it wouldn't make sense to have different presets if you're going to change it each time. So maybe it's something that I'm not seeing. Just, yeah, I can't figure that out straight off the bat. So right in here, we've got some rubber stickers. Now, I imagine these are to put on the bottom to stop it sliding around, so we can do that. We're just going to place them in the corners over the screws. Don't really plan on having to take this thing apart. You'd be fine not using these, but you have to be careful with that one, that it doesn't cover the access to the door for the battery. Not perfectly symmetrical there, it doesn't really matter. Now it won't move or slide across the desk. What else have we got in here? We've got some adapters. So we've got, that just says A on it. So with these, I imagine you put these in. Can you rotate them into place? It maybe looks like you can. Yeah, so you can push and rotate them into place so they stay there. That's nice, I like that. So you've got standard fitments. That one looks like the one we had on the Vanguard, which was very perfect for loading SRS mags. That's like your GBB adapter. And this one, not entirely sure what that would be for, but they also sent me a couple of little accessories as well. So in here, we've got a GBLS adapter. Now these are 3D printed, and you can see where they haven't cleared off the support material. So they'll have printed this like that. You've got this overhang, so you have support material in there, and they just haven't cleared that out. So if you took a little blade and you just chipped that away, would be nice if that was done before it came to you, because the last thing you want to be doing is loading little bits of 3D printed plastic into your magazines. So we've got a GBLS one, which will never be used because I don't have a GBLS. We've got a PTW one, again, not something that we use. We'll just test that these go in okay. Yeah, they fit in just fine. That one actually looks a bit weird, the PTS one, the PTW one. I've got PTW adapters that I've had over the years, and they look a little bit different geometry to that. But in here we've also got a different door which has an unloader on it. So I imagine this can be removed, possibly, and switched out with that one so you can unload your mags. So I'm going to do that for now. And then this is like it says a G17 adapter. Looks like that's maybe feeding from the bottom, not the top. So we're going to fit on the standard tube like that, and we're going to put some rounds in here. Let me empty some of these 2.5s just so we can test it. If the guys at T238, it's such a difficult word to say, T238 are watching, it would be nice if they could chime in on the comments and say, and tell you how you can store these presets. I think there's a protective thing over that screen, but I can't quite see a thing to pull it. Right, so we can set it to where we are. Let's take a little mag for now. So this is just like a G&G quad stack ARP9 mag. So these hold, I think, 68 or 70 rounds. There's probably not that many rounds in here, but we're just going to give it a go anyway. So we set it to 60 rounds. So that will now have primed the tube, so that this tube and the feed would have been empty before. So now we've got it primed, we should get a good fill. Right, let's get some more BBs. Now all my 2.5s are in the Vanguard, so I'm just going to open this up here, just so we can get some 2.5s. What I will say is filling this is going to be a little bit more delicate compared to, you know, a Vanguard. I just whack. If it's a bottle, I just tip the bottle upside down. If it's a bag, I just rip the bag open and pour it in. You have to be a little bit more precise with the one from T238. So you can see obviously this thing is much bigger. There are some differences that I'll go over in just a moment. So the main thing that everyone's probably going to be asking is, can we fill an EPM? That's an original EPM, and then these are the RXs. I think the RXs are meant to be smoother, so we'll try both. 250 rounds, let's give it a go. So it did do 250 rounds. It's telling you there that you're doing, I think it was about 14 BBs a second, and then it went down to 12. So that's one. I don't think we've quite got enough to do the second one, so let's empty these. I do really want to put that window on. How do we get this window off? Am I going to break it? I don't want to break it. Surely it comes off because they give you, there we go. Oh, okay. Pulling that off literally snaps it off. So, yeah, you kind of, there's no real like cutout to, so pulling the original window off is going to snap it. It's not either there, here or there. I'd probably switch it out anyway because I'd like to be able to unload the magazines, especially with the AEG mags. Let's pop this little silicone piece in, which helps it stay closed. Just going to pull that through. What would be nice is if they open sourced these. Maybe they do. Just so if you break this, you could just 3D print your own. I'm going to get this mag, we're going to empty it. That was really weird, that was. I thought I'd snapped it for a second there. So we're going to do the RX one now. And we'll give this a go. I do like that there's a bit of a delay. So the starting feed is 15 BBs a second. $14 BBs a second. 13. And we finished on 12. But it does load them. So it can do it. It did say that the max feed, I think, was like 20 something. 21. Max loading speed is 21 BBs a second at 12.6 volts. So the battery probably just needs a bit of a charge. Here we have a Vanguard, which is the it's the elite option in this space. So far, I've not come across anything that competes with it, but you are locked into quite a hefty price tag. So we turn this on. I can unlock it here, and you see I've got all my presets here. So I've got 34, which I use for my MWS mags. Basically means I don't have to strip the top round out. 45, 250, 170, 80. So I've got 5 options there that I can preload, and I just hold the button down. It puts it on that, and then I can change what I want it set to and hit it again, and it's good to go. So we're going to do a 250 round mag now with the Vanguard, and we'll see what the difference in speed is. So here we go. We just preload the mag on, and we don't have to use the downwards pressure to actuate the speed loader. So we just press this button once we're ready. So there we go, 250 rounds. Seemed pretty damn quick. And for comparison, we'll get another RX here. 250 rounds in the T238. It was starting to struggle there. A lot of snaps and pops from this one. Now what I will say is the thing that you have to take into consideration with the T238 is the gears are plastic, and that doesn't fill me with a massive amount of confidence. Everything in here is like, you know, metal gears, everything like that. It's built to withstand massive amounts of pressure. With the T238, to get the metal gears, you have to buy them separately. So just keep that in mind. Right, so we loaded both mags. The unloader is a little bit inconsistent on that. It doesn't like to, probably because it's 3D printed. Obviously with the Vanguard, it's got brass tubes and it's done. So there is, you know, quite a stark quality difference, but you have to remember that these come in two different price points. Right, what can we try next? Let's try a gas mag. So we'll open up my tools here. Let's get an easy loader out. Let's get one of them. Get one for the VFC as well. And we'll give this a go. So I'm going to grab a GMP mag. This is a version 1, so it works with the older adapters, which are very good. So we can go down here. We can set that to 34. And we'll give it a go. So loading lower amounts of EVs is much easier for this loader. So GMP mag can work just fine. Let's grab a TM mag. I know I've got some around here somewhere. We'll try an MWS if I can find one. Right, we have a standard Marui MWS magazine here. You're going to do that the same. Just push it down. Yep, that seems okay as well. No problems there whatsoever. So, you know, low feed counts should be pretty good to go. Let's find another gas blowback magazine. This one will do. Out of the Maruyama series. Let's try, because I know they had a GBB adapter. Sometimes when you're pushing those adapters on, it starts the loading process, so you just have to be careful with that. Right. GBB adapter. See, like that. I'm trying to get the adapter off. I'm glad I caught that. And it starts feeding as you're trying to squeeze it on. That one was a little bit sticky, so it took a little bit extra effort to get it on there. Right, let's put the standard adapters, GBB adapters that come with these loaders. Here's the Vanguard. You can set it to 45 because that's what these are. Now, I'm pretty sure this one works okay, but we'll just give it a go. Yeah, just got the angle a little bit off there. So we'll strip these out and we'll try it on the T238. These magazines are pretty easy. The magazines that you're going to struggle with gas blowback wise are going to be Glock magazines. They're notoriously the hardest ones to load with such, like loading it from top down. So we'll give these magazines a go on the T238. Let's see if it can do it. So we were 45. Let's see if it can accomplish it. No. No, it cannot. That might be just because of the type of adapter that it is. We'll try that again. So we're going to try and load it in. Oh! Now that was weird. I think that had that much pressure then that it pushed the magazine back, and I must have hit the valve. I think like a blast of propane in your face. Right, okay. It doesn't quite like that. We'll give it one more go. Now this is with the adapter that came with it. We could, if we can get this off in time, there we go. Let's try putting this back on. I know this isn't really ideal. We'll try a low, we know this adapter works. Let's try it with the Vanguard adapter. So it will load them, just the adapter, like the GBB style adapter it comes with isn't quite the perfect geometry to feed such a thing. It was just, I mean, it seems like it'll unload it, which is unique. It's almost like a perfect unloading adapter, that is. Just it wouldn't load them. It's almost like it was pushing the magazine out of place. And that could be to do with, you know, on this adapter you've got these, you know, solid edges on both sides. So as I push this in, as it pushes against that, the back of the lips here are pushing against the loader itself, the adapter, so it can't yank it out that way. Now with the T238 you don't have that, so as you're pushing it in, it wants to push the mag this way, and of course it can do that. So that's an adapter thing. Now if they open source the files, I'm sure plenty of people could come up with ways to do that. We could just try and see. Maybe we can do it with an MWS one, because these seem to work with a lot of different magazines, so let's give it a go. So there you go. A Jaeger Precision MWS adapter will work with these SCW9 mags perfectly fine. It's actually really, really smooth. I might use that one in future, because using it with this one just feels a little bit like it's slightly off center. So anything at lower capacities is going to be perfectly fine. It's, you know, if it doesn't require that much pressure, like I wouldn't want to try and fill a G17 mag on this. Do I have one to give it a go? Even though I don't really want to. Yeah, I've got one here. Right, this is gonna be painful, so I'm only doing it to show you lot. If I take my fingernails off here, so this conventionally would be the adapter. Now they give you this one for G17, which I imagine is designed like, it doesn't, to me, this looks like an adapter that you would put in front. I don't know, maybe I'm getting this horrendously wrong. Maybe I am getting this horrendously wrong. That you'd like pull down like that, you clip this on. Yeah, maybe that's how it's meant to work, like that. So you clip it on. Let's do 20 rounds. It is wanting to force my hands off it, so let's give it a go. Put that adapter back on here. Very fiddly indeed. Let's see if it will load it. Yeah, it will. It's just such a pain to hold, because as you're trying to hold this, it's trying to throw it off your hands. I wouldn't fill this way. I mean, even though I'm very fortunate to have an expensive loader like the Vanguard. If I do G17 mags, I will always use a manual loader, and basically I'll just pull this down as I fill it, because it's the only way, or I'll pull it all the way down and fill it from the bottom, because Glock style mags are notorious for not wanting to do it, and I'll show that off on the Vanguard here. So let's see. Let's change this to 20 rounds. Now, different manufactured, Glock magazines give different results, but it's the one set of magazines that usually doesn't want to work. So that the Vanguard will kick it off if it feels too much pressure, like that, and you can hear it. It just, with Glock magazines, it's something to do with the way that they stack. It's just like they jam up the magazine so it doesn't work. Now, you can actually do this with like high capper style mags and such, where it will work. What's this? I've got some shadow mags here. Should we try a shadow mag? See if that works. So that apparently loaded 20 rounds in. So with the shadow mag, it will work. Will it work? Now I'm going to try. Let's load this down. Let's do 10. Without trying to strip this off. Can we push it on the top there? No. So the problem with this loader is this loading adapter is it's got no back in there, so it needs a shoulder to hold the magazines in to stop them pushing off. But like I said, put it on this one. This adapter is obviously a bit better. Now I overloaded that one, so it kicked it off there. But majority of you that are buying these loaders are probably using it to fill AEG mags, anything that's like from 30 rounds to 250 rounds, you're going to be absolutely fine. I've actually jammed this mag up. So anything up to like an EPM, which is 250 rounds, you're going to be fine. Just with the T238 I can't even say it, T238 loader, it's just going to take you a bit longer. So let me see if I can just clear this magazine before I forget. Let's get these BBs out. So there's going to be many of you out there watching this video going, we'll try it with this AEG mag and that AEG mag, and honestly, this is the biggest test you can give it with an EPM. I've got a bunch of AEG mags. Here's another EPM one. What's this one? EPM AR9. So let's try and load it with too many BBs. Let's go 120 and see what happens. Right, that did 120. Maybe these are 120. Unloaded a bit better. Let's go 130. I just want to see if it'll turn itself off. It did. Maybe these are 140 rounds. Come on. I just want to test the safety features to see if this will stop itself. When you're loading up this much pressure and you're pushing down so hard, you always got a risk of hurting yourself anyway. Right, okay. So it did, it stopped at 141. Didn't necessarily like, you know, automatically turn itself off. It was just kind of like, it just stopped. Where if we do a similar thing with this one, so we'll try 170 BBs, we put this on, we press a button. It has sensors built in. So it says there, pressure limit hit at 143 BBs. It's giving you that information that 143 rounds have gone in and the system's detected that it can't push any more and it turns the loader off. So there you have it. So what I would like to see in the grand scheme of things is how we save. Oh, let's come up again. How we save these, because if you're having to go into each option, sorry, you probably can't see this. Let's turn this off. If you're having to go into these options and change the values each time, it doesn't make sense having presets. So how are we meant to save them? So if I wanted 25 rounds, that just brings that up. If I hold it down, nothing happens. So pressing OK just brings the menu up. There really isn't any more functionality than that I can quickly access. So we've got record, which just obviously tells you how long it's been used for, how many rounds you've put in there. Brightness, we can turn that up or we can turn it down. Display auto off, auto shut down 30 minutes, and that's pretty much what you've got. So I think that auto shut down 30 minutes has also got a counter in the top here. So this will go down once that hits, I'm pretty sure once that hits like 0, it will just power off. So yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just being a bit of a dumbass. Now I have flicked through the manual and I can't see anything that says, I'll just have one more flick through. I can't see anything that says about setting the presets. Detailed pages, reverse polarity, performance, basic information, electrical specification, compatible magazines, various normal magazines, spring type magazines, install adapter, how to do that. Adapter B is suitable for gas shotgun shells. Which one was B? Oh, that one. Okay, so that's a shotgun shell adapter. Adapter C, most bolt action spring replica magazines. And D, most GBB magazines, which we know for a fact that that's going to be not the case. So we've gone through pretty much everything. Open the cover, press OK, 3 beeps. Fix quantity mode, set the feed quantity, long automatically, loading automation stops when the preset quantity is reached or if the magazine is released prematurely, manual loading mode, set feed quantity to 0, operation align magazine with feed import, press to begin loading, loading stops when magazine is released. So you can just have it as an auto, put your pressure down like an Autobot. Jam clearing functions. If a jam occurs during loading, the motor will automatically engage forward reverse vibrations cycles to clear the obstruction. Anti-stall protection. And more functions, record. There is nothing in here that basically says that you can set the differences, which basically just means that when you've got these presets like this, 250, 120, 50 and 30 and infinite. So you go down here and you set 25 rounds. You go up and back, it's gone. So you don't have, like I've got 5 presets in there where I've got all my MWS mags, 250 round EPM mags, 45 rounds for the MP9 gas blowback mags, and then 170s, which I think I was using for these quad stack G&G mags. So you've got everything you need there, and it just saves, it's kept there. It's also a case of, you know, you've got your presets, you've got your options, you've got your settings, you've got your extras, so your settings, your power, how much power goes into the motor, stats on, you can set it as a key code so people can't mess with it when you're not there in the safe zone. You've got extras, so you can preset. So what you could basically do is you've got a spout function on here. So if you had a box mag and your box mag holds 5,000 rounds, say it's 5,000 rounds, hit go, it'll just put 5,000 rounds into it if you don't want the bother of lifting it up and like scooping them out and putting them in your box mag. Reverse, that's basically to unload it. So once you're done, let's say these are loaded with 2.5s. If I want to go to 0.3s or above or whatever, I can hit reverse. I can pull all the rounds out the feed mechanism so that as I put my fresh BBs in, it's not mixing the weights. So you've got these extra bits here. You've got info. So I've done a total of 51,000 rounds through this thing. Now you might say that's not a lot, but when you're using mags that hold 30 rounds, because predominantly most of my guns hold 35 rounds being MWS stuff, that's quite a lot. 0 errors, version, tells you what version it is, fine. So it's just giving you that there, and then you sleep and you lock it and it will just turn off, and then when you want to turn it back on, you press the thing, it powers up straight away and you're good to go. So you can lock that now by holding it down, and when it does power off, when you turn it on, it's it should have a lock symbol. Yeah, so it's all locked, so you can't do anything, it wants you to go down to the bottom to unlock it, just so it's not pressing something in your bag and you know, start, let's say you got this in a bag with all your other gear and something leans on this, it's not going to start feeding rounds through because you've locked it. So I'm just going to lock that back up again. With this one, how we power it off is we press the middle button, we go to power off, okay, turns off, and it's off. Press it there. So very little options. The not being able to have the presets, I know I'm going on about it, but not being able to have the presets is a massive, it's a big mistake. Like, unless there's some jiggery pokery, up, down, skip, left, jump, spin around 3 times, land on your left leg to set them, I really don't know. So we'll tip them out the feed tube. So the other concern is, I mean, this is obviously coming in at a cheaper price, but the other concern is the plastic gears, how long they're going to last, especially if you're constantly filling 250 round EPM magazines. So it can do it. I will, what I'll do now is I'll go away and I'll give this thing a charge. I'm just going to see if I can take this door off, which you know it doesn't want to come off. So just note that when you take that door off to fit the accessory, it's going to snap the little leg off, and it was completely unavoidable, to be honest. And when you go, let's say now you want to charge it, you've got to unscrew the base. So you need tools to get this sorted, and you can pull your battery out there. It's a little bit finicky. Easier than the Autobot loader, but the Autobot you didn't have to have a screwdriver. From my knowledge, I can't remember it having to have a screwdriver to get that fitted. So you could pull the battery out, put your door back on. Again, surely it would have been simpler from a manufacturing standpoint just to put a latch on that, or have a sliding door, or something where it's just a lot easier. Again, I'm comparing something that's more accessible to a lot of you compared to the Vanguard. The Vanguard is expensive, but you know, I think the Vanguard open, I can pour all my rounds in there. The batteries that come with it have this Velcro backing on them, so that's done. And then when I've got a new battery or I've recharged it, I plug in my XT60, I take the battery, secure it there with the Velcro, and it's good to go. So yeah, there's going to be people out there that probably find an issue with anything that I've said in this video. If T238 want to chime in the comments and point out anything that I've missed, I will of course come back and take a look. I'm sure there's a protective thing on that screen. Maybe not, maybe I'm tripping, but it looks like it's got like a screen protector on it. Just can't see something to peel off. So yeah, if they want to chime into the comments and tell me if I'm missing anything, I'll go and recharge his battery as well anyway. It did absolutely fine at 11.3 volts, 11.6 volts was it? So I'll give this a charge, and then I'll just be running it through its paces. So whenever I'm going somewhere and I take the Vanguard, I'll be taking this as well, run it through its paces, give it a good run for its money, and see how the thing does. Like I say, the only thing I did see, I'm sure ones that I've seen have like a joystick that sticks out from this, that, you know, so I'll also have to see what the differences are between the Pro Edition and the other editions that they do. But yeah, there you have it. 2 loaders at 2 different price points. There is obviously a vast difference between the two, but this one's far cheaper. This one is a premium thing that many people say that they buy when they're in a team. So I've been going for 40 minutes here, so I'll shut up now. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you found something of use in this video. Let me know if you've had a good or a bad viewing experience down in the comments below. And if T238 can chime in about anything I've had questions with, that'd be great. And as always, you can check out the links in the description. There'll be a link for the Jaeger Precision Discord. If T238 offer me a link to their website for this loader, I'll put that down there as well. They haven't paid me anything for this review. It was literally just sent as a sample. And yeah, thanks for watching as always. And from me and Bench, we'll be seeing you in the next one.